There we go. We're
There we go.
recording. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. First things first, let us call this meeting of the Governance Committee on November 17, 2025 to order. We have committee members, Megan Anderson. Well, let me just go roll call through the committee members. So Megan.
Present.
Present. Mark.
Present.
And myself, present. We also in the room have our new CEO, BJ, present. our CFO, and we'll go around. And
Our Assistant General Counsel.
our Assistant GC is also present. Okay, so.
Associate, sorry.
Let me briefly set the level set for the approach for this evening and for this is not likely to be accomplished all in one setting, since there are 4 documents that I put to the committee to revise. Those are the rationale why those 4 is because those are the 4 oldest documents that have not been revised by us in some time, and in many cases, some decades. And so when I did a review that staff is printing out as we speak, which will circulate here in a moment, and I emailed a copy to Megan, so you have a copy as well, that will go over, I went through each of the 4 documents and just did an analysis in terms of outdated statute references, outdated best practices, and we'll go through each of those. And so I think what we can set aside for now the lobbying contacts guidelines, since those are superseded by the Project Sunlight policy. Maybe we'll table that for the time being and just focus on the other 3, which would be the investment guidelines, the procurement lobbying guidelines, and the senior management policies and rules. So let me pull up my brief 2 cents. So I want to get the consensus of the committee on which one we should start on first. The investment guidelines, my quick 2 cents there is that there were a lot of old and outdated, I should say, by way of background, I was an in-house counsel on Wall Street for about half a decade at Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley, and so just going through there with an eye towards what government entities and public benefit corporations can typically invest in are safe investments, things like bonds, fixed income, nothing crazy, no crypto or anything like that. But there were even that said, there were many references in our investment guidelines that are from an outdated time before 2000. There are a couple of statutes in there that have been repealed already, like Section 98A. I'll get to in more detail about this later. And so I think, but I will say that one is it's dense in terms of subject matter. Like it's a financial services subject matter. I'm sure Drew probably understands it. But I don't expect anyone else to be able to jump in and just be conversant in a lot of the stuff that's in there. But we'll make our way through, as a committee. Thank you. Okay, so you have my 2 cents on these, and I'll read for the benefit of who else is on the line. My take, again, talking about the investment guidelines. This is a doc that by its own term says it has to be updated every year. I think LADA had advised that we do that, but as part of a omnibus consideration, we don't specifically look at the investment guidelines and go through them every year as a board and update them. We just do that as a par for the course. And so my take here is that for example, there's a prudent investor rule that's been in place now for decades in New York State, that's used quite frequently by fiduciaries, but there's no reference to that in our investment guidelines. Our investment guidelines are kind of from the 90s, basically, before that was really a thing. And so in that time, they just enumerate in section 4, like, here's what you can invest in, and that's it. Whereas now it's more of a prudent investor standard of you can invest in anything that makes sense for a public benefit corporation. And that's the gist of it. Let me move on to just give you guys my 2 cents on each of these, and then we can decide which one makes sense for us to try to come through. The lobbying context guidelines we said we're going to table.
In terms of the investment guidelines,
Yeah.
the last time they were reviewed and approved by the REAC board was in 2018. So.
Before my time.
Yes. But I know we're referencing things back to like the 1990s or 2000s, so I'm not sure if that was all looked at in 2018.
Okay.
I'm just making a point.
Do you have, this analysis is really thorough, do you have a red line version of the, do you keep a red line version of the investment?
I can and circulate that. I didn't for purposes that I was going to send everybody a Google Doc, and then Lotta reminded me that we're not allowed to use Google Docs every August.
I want to say, I'm not criticizing, I'm just.
Yeah, no, it's I usually do, and so apologies I didn't have that in hand. I do in each of the backup for each of these. I provide in bold if I've made an additional suggested change. I put that language in bold, but I didn't have time to go through and do a red line. But I can, and after we meet here, before our next meeting. So lobbying context guidelines, we said we're tabling. The next one was, I should have put page numbers on this thing.
The procurement lobbying guidelines?
Yes, thank you. Procurement lobbying guidelines.
From June 2010?
Yeah, it looks like that. All right, it's off. So again, kind of basically talking about like, what our lobbying rules, are. There's a lot of, I think, there's some like conflicts in here on who should do what, which we can look into. I think actually this would be a pretty good one for us to get into first, because there's some terminology that I found that is off where it says officer. It means to say offerer, which is the statute references this term offerer throughout. And it has like roles for the CFO, for example, to oversee procurement, but there may be some conflicts of interest for the CFO to do that regarding where there's another officer who should perhaps be the one leading the charge on those things. So we can jump into that. And the last one is the senior management policies and rules. And my 2 cents there is like, this is, it was pretty short. I didn't really see a whole lot. I made some suggestions on some changes we can get into, but nothing that really was like substantial. It just seemed like another document that could use some renovation or some updating rather. So at any rate, of those 3, setting aside the lobbying context guidelines, I think the investment guidelines is, I wouldn't want to start there because I think that one's going to take some time and it's kind of dense. I would suggest we start with either the senior management policies and rules or the procurement lobbying guidelines. Anyone have a preference between those 2? Okay, well, then why don't we get into senior management policies and rules, going opposite order, number 4. senior management policies and rules. Let me pull up that document and see if I can share the screen. All right.
This is the policies regarding payment of salary compensation and reimbursements to chief executive officers. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
And senior management.
I didn't see that document in our copies, by the way.
It's the last one.
Ah, yeah. It's a good place to start. 2 pages. We'll get our warm up. Okay. Share this. Okay, great. All right, sharing the screen for our doc. I had a couple, I'll just go down, in fact, I'll go down these are just my 2 cents. Everyone obviously feel free to weigh in as a committee. The first thing I noticed was so it talks with policies regarding payment of salary, compensation, and reimbursements. A, the compensation of the chief executive officer and each member of the senior management shall be fixed by resolution by the board of directors. We do fix comp. I don't know if there is a requirement for this to be public as to what we do. Do we know, has that been our practice in that?
From what I know for mine, it was included in the public board
Okay.
resolution, so.
Is that the case for each of the members?
It is,
I would expect
because
it to
when
be.
you're appointed, your salary is part of the appointment process.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's
Um,
a state law regarding publishing salaries for appointments of various positions. They have to be public.
Okay. Well, then skip A. My next comment was on C. The chief executive officer and each member of the senior management shall be entitled to payment and reimbursement, et cetera, et cetera. There was what caught my eye there was the term reasonable, where it says all reasonable expenses paid or incurred by him or her. It seemed kind of undefined there. I want to see if there was anything, do we want to put some more definition in that or just leave it as is? Since one person is reasonable, could be another person's unreasonable.
Can you just scroll down to that section just so I can
Oh, yeah, sure.
see the language?
Here we go. So this part here, in fact, I can try to blow this up. Let me zoom in.
Is that supposed to imply like reimbursement of travel expenses and things like that?
Yeah,
That's what I would assume, yes.
Mm.
yeah, I think
Just
that,
checking.
where my brain was going with this one was just putting some more definition around like ordinary and necessary business expenses, that kind of a thing. But it's not a must-have. I think it's just something to consider.
Do you mind if I ask 2 questions?
Go for it.
Okay. Is there, since March of 2010, has there been any change to section 2024C of Public Authorities Law? You might not know.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can look it up real quick.
Not since 2009.
Okay.
It looks like. So that probably was the last time we updated it, was to encompass those changes.
I mean, the other thing is, I understand your comment about reasonableness,
Mm-hmm.
but it's modified by the second sentence. All requests for payment or reimbursement of such expenses shall be supported by appropriate invoices, vouchers, receipts, or such other supporting documents.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it can't be, arbitrary capricious, right? It's gotta be supported by documentation.
Sure, sure.
But I think we can modify reasonableness by having, something like, what was the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, it's later in the day. Commercially reasonable, or something like that, so that it's not, or the, some type of standard. What is the word I'm looking for? There's a term of art for reasonable, right? I guess, yeah, commercially reasonable, or something to that effect. So it's not just a defined term.
I mean, then right after reasonable, though, it says in connection with and related to the performance of his or her duties and responsibilities. So I think that kind of covers it.
That should provide.
I'm fine either
yeah.
way, honestly. As long as like, I really like the backup sentence, requiring, the invoices and receipts. So, if you want to change it to be more specific in the reasonable expenses section, but
I'm sorry, I just got
I
reasonable
think
to the hypothetical,
I'm sorry.
reasonable to the standard or hypothetical individual. So that it's not an arbitrary, reasonable to an arbitrary person, but reasonable to fictitious standard person. If you want to dig in.
Yeah.
So I agree.
But I think.
But I think it's
Yeah, and again, I didn't think this was a must change. This was just something I wanted to just raise for everybody's discussion. But it sounds like this is sufficient as written, that we don't need to really make a change here. Is that fair? Yeah?
yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. Rules for time and attendance. And so it has some interesting language here. It's like the chief executive officer and each member of senior management will devote his or her full business time and attention to their duties to the corporation as determined by the board of directors and the corporation as set forth in the bylaws. We don't really get into that in our bylaws in terms of like your full business time and attention. We certainly provide what the duties are. But I'm not sure where this like full business time language kind of really comes in. I mean, it's probably assumed that you're going to be spending your full business time for us. I don't know that we need to really say that here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what stood out to me was like, okay, so how are we determining that? Who's policing that? This is the honor system, I'm assuming, but like, if we're going so far as to put it in writing here, in a guideline, it would seem to require some verification mechanism. But I don't think I'm not saying that we need to be like following you guys around, seeing where you're going. I'm not advocating for that. I'm advocating against maybe like removing this the nature of the language, to just reflect the reality of the role, like.
sense, because that's all covered under our HR policies.
Hmm. So maybe,
Time
Like time and
leave,
attendance,
so maybe
yeah.
a reference should just be made to that, like, yeah, as
consistent with
consistent with,
HR
consistent with HR policy.
and
Yeah.
code of ethics and.
Yeah, is there a,
Law.
That's it, the financial disclosures every year.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So we could, with Suzanne's help, we could find the reference to the right policy to add to that section.
okay, make a note. Or maybe we can. Oops, sorry,
Actually, I have a problem with B. You have to be available at all times during regular business hours at the office of the corporation, except when absent connection with business, the corporation, or vacation or leave. I guess the absence, if you're tied up in a meeting or something, is that then considered a violation of that rule? Or is it because you're absent in connection with business, but you're not absent if your door is closed because you're in a business meeting?
Or is it trying to say that you should be physically present in the office and not like working remotely? Like I was struggling with this section too, Mark.
No, but I think this
Yeah.
is from
2010.
2010, which
Right, I know,
predates
and
the
that's what I
remote.
mean. Like, is there like, was somebody just not physically available at the office, and this was put in there for that reason? Like, that we're not familiar with the history for why this was put in.
Yeah.
no, that's a good call out, because if you're available remotely, you're certainly available.
Right.
But
Yeah.
also, if someone's at like, I don't know, at the tram, having a meeting at the tram station, you know, they're complying with the rules of, they're doing work for REOC, but they're just not in the office.
Right, they're not
Or if they're,
available technically. Yeah.
Right. They're in Albany, if they're called to Albany for some reason, or the, City Hall, you know,
Yeah, I think the problematic language is at the offices of the corporation.
Mm.
I would suggest we strike those 6 words, keep everything else as is, because after the comma, it says, except when absent in connection with the business
Right.
of the corporation. So that covers the scenario you just raised, Mark, where somebody's out of the office at a meeting, but they're still on business.
I mean, I would like to say something like, will be dedicated be dedicated to the interests of the corporation, during business hours. So a little more amorphous, but amorphous. I mean, it could be fixed, but yeah, it's just a weirdly worded paragraph.
So how about this? The chief executive officer and each member of the senior management will be available at all times during regular business hours. Strike that part, except when absent in connection with the business of the corporation or on vacation or leave.
Well, but they're not available if they're in a meeting with whoever. I mean, they're not available to anyone who stops by. That's why.
Well, that's what that says, except when absent in connection with the business of the corporation.
They're not absent if they're in a meeting. In other words, it's such a weirdly specific language. I think we need something a little broader.
Is your issue with the word absent?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's, do we want to say something, when concerned with,
When occupied in
Occupied.
connection with.
Occupied. There we
Or
go.
on vacation.
You like
I'm
occupied.
satisfied now, thank you.
Except when occupied. Oops, there you go, right.
Look, I just spent 3 hours arguing with someone because they sent a notice that said 5 days, but they gave 10 days, but the contract said 10-day notice. And my client had paid up anyway, but we're still having 3 hours of arguing as to whether the notice was defective or not. And so I'm fully of the opinion, words have meaning, and we want to make
Oh,
sure
sure.
that there's no problems.
Okay, so how about as we have it now?
Yes.
Cool.
Do we want to say of the corporation? Because what are we relating the business hours to?
You're talking right
Yes.
here?
Yes. No,
No,
the sentence above, where
Where
you
it
crossed
says-
it out.
Yeah.
That at the offices of the corporation, so, I'm saying,
Just cross out.
cross out at the offices
but
and
keep
leave of
other.
the corporation, yeah.
Okay. So let's reject that and just say at the offices. So during regular business hours of the corporation. Yep, that works. Except when occupied. All right, everybody, we love it?
Yes.
All right. A general comment, we talk about, I don't think we define senior management in this document. Oh, do we? Oh, no, we do. Term senior management shall mean and include, okay, we got it right here. Each appointed, never mind, scratch that.
Are those titles consistent with what we updated the bylaws
Oh,
for?
that is a great question, Megan. Let's pull up the bylaws.
I remember we went back and forth on
We
the
sure
titles
did.
in
So I'm
there,
gonna say probably these are not.
Yeah, I would think
You don't
not.
have chief and
It doesn't-
Doesn't the bylaw have a weird definition of treasurer?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Financial officer,
actually,
chief
did-
operating officer should be here.
did treasurer survive, Megan? Did that survive?
So I think the treasurer was
I
defined as like.
honestly don't remember.
I can't remember
Like,
either.
I think
Like-
it did as a separate
Correct,
position that,
correct.
is
Yeah,
that what
it-
Howard has?
Correct. It's
But
it's
just
not
an
a pos-
oversight.
Correct. It's not a position like on
It's
Riyadh's
not a senior
platform.
management
Yeah,
position.
exactly.
Right, yeah, okay,
It's a
that's right. We
position
kept it,
That is to the board to take on, but it's
Yeah.
kind of, it's not mandatory.
Yeah, sort of.
Mhm.
passive.
I mean-
Yes, I remember I received the amended bylaws right before we voted,
Mhm.
and I did point that out. It's weird, it's different.
Corporate documents,
It should provide like another person,
bylaw.
another set of eyes, on the books and records.
Let's see.
Yes, but it's in violation of normal terms of art for the word treasurer.
Officers. Officers shall include a president and chief executive officer, a chief financial officer,
Mhm.
a chief operating officer, a general counsel, secretary, internal controls officer. And those are the only
There you go.
7 that are, or 6 that are named.
Do you want to change the definition in the document to senior management shall mean and include officers as defined in the.
Yeah, let's just do it like that, so
Good idea.
that way we don't have
Don't have to
Right,
to.
update
that's- I was
That's
gonna
fine.
suggest the same thing, and just take them
That
out,
is the best practice,
We
absolutely.
are all brilliant and working together.
and save future review.
The. How to say this, shall include the officers, each appointed and serving in accordance with the corporation's bylaws.
That's good.
Yeah,
I would actually,
does that work?
no, what I would say, if I may, shall mean and include officers as defined under the bylaws. Or as the term is defined under the bylaws.
Okay, so we'll take that out. So officers as defined in accordance with the corporation's bylaws, all right.
I would also get rid of the after include.
Oh, yeah. No, just the. Okay. Okay, that works. I think that's about all I had.
One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is on the second page? What is C? What is it? C. The chairperson, who is also the chief executive officer, shall participate in determining time and attendance rules to the position of the chief executive officer.
I don't think have we ever had a CEO that's also
I don't think that's allowed under.
the
our-
chair of the board? I don't think, yeah, that's probably
That's
not, right?
that's not allowed under our bylaws.
Yeah, conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, but it's also president and chief executive, okay. Under definition, chief executive officer, the president and chief executive officer of the corporation. I don't think that the chief executive officer is actually on the board, right? They
Correct.
advise the board,
Yeah.
they're not on the board.
That is right.
Do the bylaws specifically say they can't be the same person?
So I'm just
They
looking
might.
at that.
I can't remember.
Just says the president shall be appointed or elected by the board, yada, 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 shall be appointed and hired by the board upon recommendation unless otherwise determined by the board, the general counsel. Let's go to your exact position. President and CEO shall be responsible for discharge and administrative functions and powers of the corporation, shall have the authority to sign any deeds, and in general perform all duties. Doesn't say expressly that you can't be.
Yeah, I think it
but-
doesn't say that the chair is established in statute as the commissioner of the Division of
Certainly.
Housing, but it never says anywhere that the chair can't be the CEO of REAC.
Yeah,
And that's
I
where
think that-
they want to limit the chair choosing the salary of the
That's
president and
rare.
CEO position.
It's a belt and suspenders issue.
I think,
Okay,
Yeah.
in the extremely
there was-
rare.
One time, there was a Division of Housing employee who was the temporary CEO of the corporation while we were trying to establish appoint a new person. But they weren't the chair of the board, but there has been crossover. So I think it's there for a
Got it.
reason, and I think it was around that time period too, that these were last updated, that they did this.
Okay.
All right. Okay, that was really all I had for this one. Anything else that jumps out to anybody? Great. One down.
Okay.
Do we have to bring these
I-
to the
we changed
board, or
the
we just
date.
announce
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
want to?
25th,
yeah.
2010, we gotta change that.
All right.
Sorry, I just had a
Uh,
question though. Just, are we expected to bring these back to the board for ratification in any way, or is it just a governance committee review?
I think we should propose all changes to the board
Okay.
for vote. Yeah.
Shouldn't the date be the date when the board approves it? As late as possible, so.
Well, maybe you could put like revised draft or something that, it was
Yeah.
updated.
I'll put it,
at this meeting.
I'll tell you what, I'll put it in brackets
Or
so that we know
Proposed.
it will be updated, whenever the board approves it. Let me save this file. On here. Okay, all right.
Only 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, 2 pages. Well, it took us about 15 minutes. 10 minutes was me getting here.
Don't undermine my joke, it was funny.
All right, next, let's see, how about the procurement lobbying guidelines? How about those?
Mhm.
Procurement lobbying guidelines.
Is Project Sunlight, where we're getting the, vendors to be part of the advisory board, advisory committee, or? am I-
So if one of us at REAC, who are employed by REAC, and we know of a vendor that is, going to bid one of the contracts, we have to bring that forward, and document that.
We're not reviewing the guidelines regarding lobbying contacts that superseded, right?
Right, that's right,
Okay.
yeah,
Putting in the box.
yeah. Okay. This one is unfortunately not 2 pages. So,
But a lot of it, we're subject to state finance law, so I mean, we can't really change much of it.
All right.
Yeah, how much of this, Suzanne, do you know is prescribed?
I would think the majority, but.
Uh-huh. So it'd be more, what are the things to flag for us to
Right.
look
I would think
into,
like
whether we
the
can-
contact person, we can decide who that is.
Right, some of this is, yeah, pretty defined. I think so.
I
The
guess
other one.
my question is, the procurement lobbying law, the 139-K and K, has that been updated since June 20?
yeah, K, I think, has been, if I'm not mistaken.
And does that updating affect the guidelines as they exist, or?
Yeah, I think that's what, wait 1 second. I think,
And I do want to say, it's a lot easier being in my position, coming in and asking these questions, rather than you guys who have actually done the analysis. I sound really intelligent, but you guys have answers, so.
let's see, the last major update to J and K was 2005, with an effective date of 2006. that was the last major updates. They've been revised since then. But like on the margins, but no like significant updates since, in about 20 years. So we should be okay.
Looking at McCarthy's,
What's that?
what are you looking at, McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, what is this? Office of General Services?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, McCarthy is trademark. McKinney, sorry.
Let's go through. Let's see, the record of contact form. Attachment 3. So there's this record of contact form in attachment 3 that it's a form you can fill out and like, I guess, send this in, but it doesn't have like modern instructions in terms of like email or, so I think that was something that stood out in terms of like, can we put an email address on here that this should be sent to?
What, the contact would be the director of procurement.
What's the,
Her name is Amy Firestein.
do we want to just, is there a general email address instead of personal email, a one that will, is there one?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can do that. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to iron it out today, but maybe we can add a established email address just for procurement. We can put here, make a note. All right. Who usually oversees the procurement process? Walk me through, like, how do we do it today?
In terms, not the actual monitoring or, I guess, contract reward. You're talking about in terms of let's say if there's a PO issued, for, a vendor. So procurement can issue POs, procurement can review POs. Anything over $5,000 requires us to go through a procurement process. Over $50,000 requires us to go through a more, comprehensive, procurement process. And then there's times where we have single or sole source, types of, vendors. Like, for example, the tramway, we have to use POMA, because, it's a sole source, it's a unique type of work. And then, let's say if it's let's say if it's for a project that's over $50,000, an RFP would be required. So it would be posted, online, and, vendors would have to apply to that RFP, and then there would be a bidding process for about 15 days. And then once there's a restricted period where we can answer questions, and up until the time that the contract is awarded. But before the contract is awarded, we also have to evaluate the vendor, in terms of financial stability, in terms of their experience, and there would be 3 individuals who would be involved in terms of evaluating the vendor. And there's sort of a ranking process that we do. And whoever comes out with the highest ranking or rating, that's who the contract is awarded to.
Hmm. Thank you for that.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
There's
no,
a lot of
that-
moving pieces.
I knew some of that, but not all of it, so, yeah, thank you.
$5,000, that was, the amount was lowered, right? Like, it used to be higher and then it was lowered, because there was oversight issues?
No, so you're thinking
Board
about
approval.
anything over $175,000, as a contract would require board approval. And any contract that is, 1 year or more would also require board approval. But there was discussion to bring that, amount down to $90,000.
So let me ask you, I'm glad you're here. So there's this concept in here that talks about contacts. A violation of the guidelines occurs when there is a contact during the restricted period between the offerer and someone other than the designated REOC person, and then it goes in what is this? What is this? This is Roman numeral 5 procedures, section D, investigation of contacts, and it says all reported contacts will be immediately investigated by the CFO. Is the CFO, are you the person that we should have investigating all these, since are you also involved in the procurement process?
I do oversee the procurement process.
Okay.
It is managed on a day-to-day basis by our director of procurement.
Mhm.
So if there are issues that come up, I do discuss those through with procurement, and we get legal involved,
Okay.
As necessary.
Sure. And so I guess the question is, should we leave this language as is, or should this say that contacts will be investigated by, like, legal?
I think you could leave the language, as is, because we fortunately haven't had this issue, in terms of, anyone being investigated, but also I'm impartial to the whole process because, for example, there's a lot of vendors that will apply to an RFP that have done work here previously. And folks from operations will also rate them based on their experience and their familiarity with REAC. And that also provides me a layer to make sure that they were impartial in terms of, making that determination, in terms of going with that vendor, because they may have felt that, the vendor in the past may have not done good work, but at the same time, you have to be fair and competitive.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's okay to consider vendors' past performance when evaluating, but I would say to keep it simple, let's just make sure that the legislation doesn't require it to be the CFO. I think it's fine. I can't remember offhand in my past lives who has been the designated contact, and we could look at Battery Park City and some others to see who the investigator is, but generally speaking, because this is
Yeah, I'll make a note.
about outside people trying to influence the procurement process, I think it's fine for it to be the CFO. We can just double check what common practice is, or if the legislation already specifies it, but I think it's okay.
What if the CFO is the one who has contacts?
Yeah, there should be, right, if
It
they,
would be like, unless you have to recuse yourself.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting
Yeah,
at.
if they're contacted.
Is there a potential where it could be a conflict of interest to have the CFO doing the investigation? And should it then, if that's the case, should it be moved to the general counsel's office?
I guess there should be if this stays CFO, there should be a provision that unless it is the CFO who has been contacted, in which case the general counsel should conduct the investigation, maybe to your point.
Yeah.
For example, during the restrictive period, the permitted communications, like for any questions and answers, would be with the director of procurement. That would be the
It's like
contact.
one person
Yeah, it's
only.
just one
Mhm.
person.
That's the whole
It
point of
always
this.
has been,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So I just made a comment there to,
We'll double check.
that legal will look into that and follow up. I wanted to see, and we don't have to go through each instance of this now, but, so statutes, 193J and 139J and 139K, they reference this term offerer as an official, term that's defined in those statutes. And I want to make sure we don't have to go through all instances of it now, but I just want to make sure we're correctly using that throughout this document. Because I saw some places where we say officer, and I think we might mean offerer.
Here, that does seem like you've caught a typo.
Yeah.
A 15-year-old typo.
Yeah. I'll make a note here in the first page that we should, we'll go throughout, search and replace throughout the document.
They found that at Museum of Natural History, they found a typo in a carving in bronze. Like some some middle school kid pointed out. And had been there for like 80 years or something.
Wow.
All right, so I'll make a note of that. Let's see, I'm jumping around here, sorry. Procedures, A2, REOC will incorporate a summary of the policy governing lobbying during a governmental procurement in its documents relating to the procurement contract. Provide a copy of the policy and prohibitions regarding permissible communications to offerers. Is there a need for proactive public posting here?
We should just have this on our website if we don't already. I'm not
Yes.
sure, but that would be good practice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think referencing that we'll post it makes sense.
Yeah. In fact, we can have some proposed language we can put in here. Oops. Let's track those changes. These full guidelines. So saying, REOC shall maintain a dedicated section on its website for procurement lobbying. This section shall contain, 1, these full guidelines, 2, a list of the designated contacts for all procurement currently in the restricted period. And 3, a log of all record of contact forms redacted as necessary to protect sensitive vendor information. What do we think about that one?
So that last one is to show that the forms have been submitted by somebody, like and make them available to the public.
That's right.
Okay.
And the sensitive vendor information is what, like,
Anything that might need redacting, I'm imagining maybe they're, I don't know.
Their
I haven't
tax
seen these
ID
forms.
number, there,
Yeah.
if that's on there, that would be something, or their
Yeah.
sensitive bid information, because that's all part of the restricted period data. That's kind of where I'm
Mhm.
like a little bit, who determines what should be redacted? And
Well, a good question. How does, and I don't know the legal answer to this, Mark, how FOIA impacts a redacted document that we might put on our website? Could someone send a FOIA request and say, give me the full document? I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
No, but I'm thinking 3 would be, it's sort of, instead of accessible via the website, it would be accessible through a FOIL request.
you know, to protect all the sensitive information, where we then would go through, when you receive the FOIL request, to redact the information?
Oh, I mean, well, certainly we redact, I'm assuming we redact FOIA requests,
Yeah,
documents
absolutely.
before they go out, yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, similar, but I think we could probably do both, right? Have
Okay.
something on our website and also redact documents that we receive for FOIA purposes.
The only thing to consider is that, for these contacts, if someone makes a contact, it could end up being a valid contact, or it could be an inappropriate contact. And if it is deemed inappropriate, OGS does have a public repository where those non-responsible bidders will be listed publicly. And so that information will be public if those contacts were inappropriate.
In answer to your question, exemption for FOIL provides for protecting trade secrets or confidential commercial financial information, so that it is proper to redact and produce FOIL documents.
Also, when we present quarterly and annual reports, procurement reports to the board, we do redact any legal information relating to claims or investigations or lawsuits.
Are we okay with the proposed language in this section? This is 5.2. Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, because documentation record keeping is very important.
All right. And do we have we're putting it in here to keep it on our website. Do we have the capability to change our website and actually put this up there? Okay.
What would
Don't
just
create
out of
an obligation for
curiosity,
ourselves. Yeah,
does
that
anybody
we
know
can't.
the volume that would be of the law? Like,
Right, that's a good question.
That's what I was thinking, that's why I was thinking FOIL may be the better avenue. But as BJ said, the ones that were in violation are posted, so it could just be a matter of just updating it
Okay.
monthly or bi-weekly or something.
Section 2, contact definition. I made a note that the definition works, but maybe could be clarified a little bit. Do we, maybe like add an illustrative example to clarify the scope of electronic communication, bringing it up to date,
That makes sense.
written or electronic communication, including but not limited to, say, email, social media, direct message, something like that. Including but not limited to email. How does it typically work in practice when when there's a contact? Do we have like, they send text messages, like what's the normal form? Social media posts, nothing like that?
No, it's
Usually
email.
email, any text?
Email, phone, but it could be text too.
Could be text?
Could
Yeah,
be,
So we
we
should
do
put-
have work phones.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like you said, it could be
The
a DM or,
Yeah.
LinkedIn or otherwise, and it should just, avoid key is to keep vendors from going outside of the designated contact when there's a procurement.
You guys call it a fax machine.
We do, we have the capability, you know, of doing it facsimile, but, you know, unless it's required. I think BJ also mentioned by phone, so we should add that too.
Yeah,
Should we say like maybe team meetings? Sometimes we have to set up a team meeting.
virtual
Yeah,
meeting.
virtual meeting, yeah.
Or other electronic communication. How's that?
Good.
All right. Let's see, I had a similar comment on attachments 1 and 2.
One comment.
Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I don't think you need to, or other electronic communication.
All right,
Including but not limited to email, text, phone, or virtual meeting.
okay, you're right, it's
So
redundant,
we're- yeah, it's
yeah. Since we say included but not limited to. All right, good catch. Let's do attachment 1 and 2. Attachment 1, update all website references from REAC to, we have www, actually, yeah, let me make sure that I'm right on this. Because REAC, I think, is yeah, it's HTTPS and then reac.ny.gov. Yeah, and I think we have www.reac, which I don't think is a thing. Let me just test it. www.reac.ny.gov. I mean, it redirects you, but that's not our site. So maybe we don't need to be that. Depends on what browser somebody uses, if they get redirected or not, I suppose. Yeah, so we have www.reac.ny.gov, which, if depending on, like, I just put it in this on Chrome and it redirected me to our HTTPS URL. So maybe it works. Maybe this is maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it needs to be. But I think I was like looking on another, I was using another browser and I couldn't get to it with the www.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
So I actually have like 2 annoying comments about this one document. I'll concede that it's annoying before we begin. I think it's certification of understanding, not an affirmation.
Where you at? On the attachment 1? Okay.
Yeah, it's not an affirmation. It's a certification. Affirmation it's a legal document that it's sworn to, but you don't need a notary. And this doesn't really satisfy that. The second is, do we care if they e-sign this, or does it have to be an actual signature?
Great question. Because anything, according to the e-sign Act, anything that can be signed in person can be submitted via electronic means. So they, in theory, should be able to e-sign this and date it. But if we're requiring, well, I guess this doesn't require a notary. it just says name, name of offer, address, name and title, and date. But we don't have a space for, so I guess it doesn't require a notary. So, yeah, they could, there's no legal reason why they couldn't send it electronically.
But then there's no, actually now, I'm looking, there's no signature line at all. It's just the name.
Yeah,
So,
Mhm.
Like,
That's right.
once
Yeah.
you've identified the name, which gets not even a certification, it's just identification.
Yeah, so we need to add a signature line here.
And when I'm thinking of e-signature, I'm thinking of S/name typed in, or, not a DocuSign.
Mhm.
Which the thing with DocuSign, you're actually connected through email. So it's a little different than S/.
Yeah, so why don't we at least at a minimum put a signature line up below the name of the offerer,
mhm.
put signature.
So you're putting below, not above. Okay.
Either way. Well, yeah, we could put it. Yeah, it's fair. I always see it below, I see it above as well, so yeah. Point taken.
That's a really good point.
Oh, I didn't really do that.
Yeah, isn't that weird? They name, offer, address, and then name and title, person signing the affirmation, and no signature. What did you do, what happened before, like, this brilliant observation of mine? People sign it, or is it, I'm just curious.
Great question.
I-
We'll have to pull some and see.
Mhm.
Just be thankful I'm just an attorney and not a tax attorney.
I think it would be included in the RFP, like there's just standard language.
Yeah,
So when you respond, you're agreeing to all of this upfront
maybe that's
in your offer,
what it is.
in your bid.
Maybe they were signing it below on that last one, name and title of person signing the affirmation. Maybe it was just, maybe that's where they were just signing it at.
Okay.
Are we, before we move on, are we creating a necessary signature line then? If people were signing at the bottom line? Where people are just signing those, like, so name of offer, before we added that edited part at the top, it was name of offer, address, and then name and title of person signing.
That's not a signature.
And that's not a signature line, yeah, so you're right, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, it should just be,
I wonder if people were interpreting it as one. All right, well,
we'll check.
signature of offer, name of offer, and now we have,
Are we still calling it affirmation or certification?
What do we refer to above?
well, let's see.
The title of the form says affirmation.
That might be a
Currently.
that might be a statutory
Maybe
requirement,
we'll check.
yeah. I'll put a note,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we'll,
legal to check,
I'm sorry.
no, that's why we're doing it.
all right. That's all I had for this one. Anybody else? I think we've brought it as far into the modern era as we can get.
You want to put a date?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Put your-
bracket a,
Yeah.
I will bracket a November 2025 out here. We're on a roll. All right.
I think it is affirmation, because it talks about REAC's non-discrimination and affirmation, action provisions. Yeah, so it might be affirmation,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. All right, what was left?
Sunlight.
Our favorite, the investment,
And
the investment guidelines,
Do you want to
yeah.
go first to the sunlight policy, because it ties into the,
We can, I have not seen this before today, so, first time you, first time me.
The sunlight one is another one which may be prescribed,
Mhm.
I think, based on the
Yeah, I did not
law.
look at this one. But let's get into it. Actually, I don't have a Word document for the sunlight, just a PDF.
Hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with you, BJ. This is, Project Sunlight applies to every executive state
Yeah.
agency, so there's
Definitely.
probably a lot of this that's just,
We could, I mean, well, if it would be helpful, we could just confirm that, and then we could let you know the parts that are, we can modify.
okay.
I think this is pretty standard based on my experience.
actually, hold on. Okay. Public Integrity Reform Act of 2011 is no longer the primary ethics watchdog in New York. It's replaced by the Ethics Commission Reform Act of 2022,
Okay,
which creates a Commission on Ethics and Lobbying and Governance. So, why don't we take, if legal could take a look at, see what the differences are in the act. and
Yeah.
Just be a void
yeah,
document.
yeah,
At least that's according to Google's AI,
Hmm.
but,
okay.
And in any event, whether we, need to make any changes to this or not, we should have this up on we should have all these up on our.
That's right.
website.
nope, okay, they're according, yes, it's, the AI is correct.
Okay.
So we're booking through these documents.
We are look at that, man. That's, 3 down, one last one to go. All right, we saved the best for last.
Wait, hold on, wait.
All right, what-
Guidelines and
That's just, that's not for revision, that is procurement guidelines, yeah. At least, I don't
Not
think.
yet.
Not yet.
Exactly.
That's
We
not,
should turn our attention to that, but
that's not on my hit list yet.
Yeah.
hey, I'm just, I was giving a document. That's what
I'm glad you didn't ignore it.
All right.
You know, what, before we move on.
Then we'd have an all-nighter.
What is the Wi-Fi information?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't have the password, but I can try to share it with you.
No, it's for my
Okay.
my pads. It's okay. I'll get it next time.
Okay.
Let me save this one. Okay, all right.
So I put my phone next to your iPad.
No,
Probably
it's,
share the password, okay.
it's Kindle, not my iPad.
Yeah.
There's an ongoing thing with household, everyone else has iPhones and iPads, and I don't.
Sharing this. Okay, Megan, can you see this one?
I got it. Here you go. I got it. I was able to
Yes,
see the password.
I can see it.
All right.
You'll see it. It's the password.
Whoa, okay.
I know.
Okay. So this was the one, once I started reading it, this is really what inspired me to put this document together. I'll briefly just touch on some of the things I wanted to get into on this one. So there's this, as I mentioned, this was written at a time where public benefit corporations like ourselves were just given a list of investments, and that was it, and you couldn't do anything other than the list. And now New York as a whole has adopted this prudent investor standard for fiduciaries, and so there's some updating there. Environmental,
You're welcome.
social, and governance investment, ESG, is a big thing, has been now for a decade or more, and there's no mention of that anywhere in the investment guidelines, and so I want to introduce ESG in here somewhere. There's a monetary threshold for competitive bids that references $2.5 million back in whenever this was drafted in the 90s, that has not been updated for inflation, which today would probably be somewhere around $4.5, $5 million. There's missing a lot of modern instruments in terms of, like, for example, money market mutual funds. Pretty standard investment for a lot of entities, and so there's no mention of that in here. I'd like to put that in here. There's some references to, so after SVB went down in 23, there were a lot of practices that came into place, stricter scrutiny on bank creditworthiness, more robust diversification of investments, et cetera, that I want to see if we can get in here. And then also cybersecurity requirements was another thing that the SEC focused on after SVB went down. Yeah, so those are like my high level bullets to put in here, and then we can go through each of these in my document there. All right, starting with Article 3. Let's see, why did I mark this? I just wanted to put some extra clarifying language in here. The paragraph's fine. I just wanted to add some language that said, like, so it's, the way it reads today is the corporation's investment activities shall have as their first and foremost objective the safeguarding of the principal amount of the investment funds. I think obviously not controversial at all. And then it goes on to describe how we're going to do that. And at the end of this paragraph, I wanted to say, within this framework, the primary objectives are, in order of priority: 1, safeguarding of principal; 2, maintaining sufficient liquidity to meet our operational needs; and then 3, achieving a reasonable return on investment. I'll pause there. any reactions to those three.
I think we're doing all that now anyway.
Yeah, codification of,
Documenting it.
Yeah,
exactly right,
Mhm.
codification of what we're already doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll jot those in here. That's useful one. Safeguarding of principal. 2, maintaining sufficient liquidity to meet operational needs. And 3, achieving a reasonable return on investment. All right. So that's that.
Mhm.
Good with that, how written?
Yeah.
All right,
Yep, that's fine.
cool.
Cool.
4.1, my first comment for 4.1 is, well, I want to throw money market mutual funds in here somewhere.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, it's number 8.
Yeah. So maybe, I'll add a new 7, maybe, and,
Well, does that fall with?
Are they included in section 98 though? For the
oh, let
with
me
the
back up.
It may be covered
Oh,
in 7 already, because the controller's got a extremely long list of what it's allowed to invest in.
So I looked there, and I think I didn't see them, but it's worth
Okay.
pulling it up again. It is. State Finance Law, Section 98. It's 98 and as well as 98A. So let me share this. Let me stop sharing there and share here.
Is there a reason why we're limiting bonds to state or municipalities within New York? I mean, there might be a, incentive for, investments in New York, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think,
Or is that a statutory requirement?
I think that may be, I don't know the statute offhand that would require that, but that is typically what I've seen when it comes to government entities like ours.
Okay,
They usually keep things in state,
right.
yeah.
So the font's weird on paragraph 4. The parentheses,
Yes. Yeah.
parentheses A-1 and P-1.
Where is the,
Not a material issue.
It's not, but then kind of matches the next paragraph.
so, no load money market fund, mutual funds registered, okay, so, yeah, I think that should do it, well. So I'm looking at section 98, that's referenced in our investment policy, and section 20 does mention money market mutual funds. So, okay, I think we might be good.
Also, Standard & Poor's and Moody's, they're still the guys, right?
What's up?
Yeah,
Well, no, on paragraph
Yeah.
4, the Standard & Poor's Corporation and Moody's Investor
yeah,
Services.
to rate like commercial
Yeah, I'm
paper,
just
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let me stop sharing. And go back to sharing.
attachment.
the
Oh,
guidelines. All right, so yeah, so.
just for my device.
So BJ, we looked at section 98 and money market mutual funds are mentioned
Oh,
in the statute.
okay.
So no need to make a change.
That would be a concern.
Yeah,
Right.
moving on.
I think we have to be, if we went into, state, munis, they are collateralized by the state. We have this line of credit with the, Federal Housing, Corporation in Cincinnati through JP Morgan. So I think if we went into a munis, it would have to be with New York State because we're collateralized for our, cash balance. And I just wanted to let you know, I know you asked a question, if we can go into any other state.
But it also just makes sense because it creates an incentivization for financing within the state.
Mhm. But also, it's more riskier to go into state bonds versus, federal bonds. Yeah, because the state, is known to default versus with federal, you have the full faith and credit of the US government.
Also, well, let me go to 5. Sorry, I'm bouncing. Article 3 and 4, before we go to section 5, Article 3, which we just amended to add some objective language, and then Article 4, which talks about what we can invest in. Somewhere in here, I feel like we should mention ESG between our objectives and what we can invest in as something that we consider. I didn't exactly know where to put it, but I can just make a comment for now.
Okay.
We can add it. Maybe Article 3, after the new language that we just put in there, I have some proposed language here that says, in evaluating investment decisions, the corporation may consider environmental, social, and governance factors that are reasonably believed to present material risk or opportunities to the financial performance of an investment. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll add it here and so you guys can see. In evaluating investment decisions, the corporation may consider environmental, social, and governance factors that are reasonably believed to present material risks or opportunities to the financial performance of an investment. The consideration of such factors shall be consistent with the corporation's fiduciary duties and primary investment objectives. How's, questions, comments, concerns?
None from me.
If it's okay with you.
great. Okay. Let me skip ahead to 5.5. There was this reference to 2.5 million. So competitive bids, negotiated prices, in connection with the purchase and sale of securities for each transaction in excess of $2.5 million, the corporation shall utilize competitive quotations. For each transaction that is equal to or less than $2.5 million, the corporation may utilize either competitive quote or negotiated prices. So my issue is not in the practice. My issue is in where the threshold is these days in terms of like what's a big investment.
Right.
And maybe when this was written, $2.5 million was it. But I think we probably want to update this to, I don't know. I was going to say, my proposal was $5 million, but open to thoughts.
I think that makes sense, 5 million.
Okay.
Although we're restricted from investing in stocks and, certain types of securities, and that's why we do T-bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's our typical size of investment? Call?
In a T-bill, it's around 2.5.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And that's because of the guidelines, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we would do higher if
Totally.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so we're okay. We're all right with raising this to 5.
Mhm.
All right.
I do have one point.
What's up?
If we go back, 5.3,
Okay.
D, Investment Council Association of America, no longer exists. It's the Investment Council Association of America. It's the Investment Advisors Association, IAA.
One.
I knew that was weird.
5.3, you said.
5.3D,
Okay. Investment Council Association. What is it now?
the Investment Advisors Association.
Okay. Investment Advisors of America.
No,
Just Investment Advisors Association. Period. All right. Good catch.
so, I'm sorry, so we're moving it's no longer 2.5 million, it's 5 million?
Yeah, so we moved up to 5 million, so there's that edit there. Uh, 5.1, let's go back up to 5.1.
There was a $2.5 million reference in that paragraph right below where you made the changes to 5 million. I don't know if it needs to change as well.
Oh, where are you at, Megan?
This,
In 5.5?
5.5, the second paragraph of 5.5.
Okay.
The second
Yes,
line.
yes, good catch. They didn't italicize it, so my eye didn't catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw it when you started to scroll. I was like, oh, there's another 2.5. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Yes, good eye, good eye. I should probably run a search for the word "to." Any other instances? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and nope. All right, that's all the 2s.
Can I just say that's a weird way of referring to it, as $2.5 million,
I know.
rather as $2,500,000.
Hey man, that's how they spoke back in those days. 5.1, authorized officers and employees. Only the following persons shall be authorized to make investment decisions on behalf of the corporation. I just want to make sure we're comfortable that it's just the CEO and the CFO.
Well, no, hold on, I agree with you, because there's actually some weird language in the second sentence of that paragraph. Because it says the CEO, CFO, but then it says, this weird language, by the foregoing officers and by such employees as may from time to time be designated in writing by the CEO or the CFO. So the reason I'm pointing this out is, it's now a few, but it's a weird statement because you make a clear limitation of who can make the decisions, and then you say unless one of these two officers in writing designates someone else.
Mhm.
So it becomes a limitation without any power.
I view it could be clearer, I view it as the CEO and CFO are the only ones who can make the decision,
Mm-hmm.
but other staff could be designated to actually place the investment itself,
Yeah, like
based,
Like authorized
Sure.
signatories and things like
carry
that.
it, yeah, carry it out,
to
yeah.
carry it out is, I think, a
That or the
reasonable-
event the CFO is on
But
leave
if the,
and the deputy could be
Mm.
authorized to do it.
right,
Correct.
that it could be worded, but
Okay.
Mark's right.
Because it's the implementation of the decisions can be authorized by
Right.
these people, not the decision itself.
Okay.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, correct, they could execute the decision.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
say to someone, buy the T-bills.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, so we'll keep, I'm trying to decide what can we
No, I see.
what can we
I-
strike and what can we keep?
I think maybe it doesn't need to be struck at all, because I see what you're saying about implementation. Okay, I'm fine with it then. Thank you for the explanation.
Oh, yeah, sure. I see, yeah. And by such employees, yes,
Right.
okay, got it, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so it provides that flexibility.
Right, and but also has the limitation of saying the implementation in the first sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I can recognize that I was wrong. The first time in my entire professional career. That'd be sad, that'd be so sad.
Let's see. 6.2 was the next thing I had.
Okay. Annual review.
Annual investment review. Okay, what did I mark this? It has gap here. Why did I mark this?
What is the fiscal year?
It's 3/31.
I'm sorry?
It's 3/30, March 31st.
Oh,
No, actually, you know what? Never mind on 6.2. I think we're good there. Let's see.
oh, hold on.
Did you got something?
Oh, the second sentence, surely parenthetical. Why would that be? First, I was checking if it was an open-ended.
Oh.
parenthetical.
Oh.
That's the- See what I'm saying?
Well, no, so go back to, what were you saying? Because I see why now I marked 6.2, but I want to hear your point.
This might just be purely grammatical, but the second sentence of 6.2 is a pure parenthetical.
I think that's okay.
I.
Or maybe they didn't intend to start with that parenthetical, right? Because I don't see an end parenthetical.
No, it is.
After
At
it.
the end,
So
yeah.
it's just a parenthetical period,
I see.
which is also weird because, I mean, you put anyway.
Yeah,
Sentence within a parenthetical, which is a sentence. Technically, there should be a period inside the parenthetical and then outside.
as part of the preparation of the annual financial statements of the corporation shall each fiscal year commencing in 2000 and 2001 cause its independent auditors to conduct a review regarding corporation's investments required by that section of Public Authorities Law. And then it starts with parenthetical. I don't know why that's a parenthetical. Maybe it should not be a parenthetical. Maybe it should just be a regular sentence. But I'll remove the parentheses there, and we'll just make that a regular sentence. But now I remember why I marked this. It references the governmental right here, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement number 3, deposits with financial institutions, investments, including repurchase agreements and reverse repurchase agreements, dated April of 1986. That prompted me to look that up, because I had no idea what that was. And I found that the GASB statement number 3 actually got replaced by statement number 40 in 2003. And then statement number 40 got replaced by statement number 72 in 2015.
And just to be clear, it's replaced or supplemented?
Superseded.
Superseded by, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, okay.
So this should, and I want to change, so 2 problems. 1, this is outdated, and then 2, going back to one of BJ's earlier points, I don't want to have to keep updating this thing every time they come up with a new Government Accounting Standards Board.
Right.
So to just come up with language that says,
Right.
Generically, that we will,
Latest,
we'll be in compliance with whatever this thing is, no matter how many of these statements they keep putting out. So shall contain all of the corporation's financial statements with respect to investments which are required to be prepared in conformance with with GAAP shall contain all of the note disclosures on deposits with financial institutions and investments required by the Government Accounting Standards Board statements.
As revised.
Yes, I need something here, like.
Well, I think the statement 72 or so superseded or revised.
Okay,
I think you said 72 is the latest one.
72 is the latest one, yeah.
Okay. And any supplement or any revised or superseding.
Yeah. I don't know that it was that. Dated, what was the date of that? Sorry. Dated GASB number 72. February 2015.
So wait, was this out of date when written?
Probably.
Although-
Well, no, because I think it might have been written in like the late 90s, yeah, yeah.
Originally, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The funny thing is the guidelines were approved by the Rehab Board in 2018. So,
Not much-
unfortunately, this language
That's
stays,
fine, we're okay.
but-
We won't throw shade on prior boards.
Yeah.
just so everyone's comfortable, we do get a compliance report, from our independent auditors that we're in compliance with our investment guidelines, so, we don't have to worry there. So I'm assuming they're looking at the most up-to-date compliance policies.
So then you had language that I have now forgotten that was good, on addressing.
Revised,
As
as revised,
revised,
as revised.
as revised, that's it? There was something else you said, I thought.
I think that was it.
Okay,
As revised or.
It's all encompassing, basically, any changes that are made,
okay.
Or as
whether
revised.
it's superseded or supplemented, or, I think it would cover it.
From time to time.
Mhm.
I think I spelled that wrong. Okay, so we have, it now reads, all that, words, as investments required by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement Number 72, dated February 2015, as revised, superseded, or supplemented from time to time.
2015, it's probably hoping to get revised again.
It's probably, yeah, that's what I'm saying, like.
No,
Yeah.
because we don't want to have this meeting again.
Exactly. Yeah, okay, so I think that works for us then. As revised, superseded, or supplemented from time to time, or that from time to time part is bothering me. Should I take that out?
Yeah, I don't think you need that part.
Yeah.
You
As
can just
revised,
leave it
superseded, or
supplemented.
supplemented. All right, great, we'll leave it at that. Okay. 431. Okay, let me bounce backwards to 4.3.1. Collateral requirements.
Why are we looking for 4.3?
Good question. Why did I do that? The SVB failure. So the SVB failure highlighted the risk of uninsured deposits. The government's requirement for collateralization is sound, but it is now considered a minimum standard. Modern best practice encouraged by federal regulators includes a formal policy that limits total exposure to any one banking institution as a percentage of the portfolio and mandates ongoing deep dive credit analysis of depository partners beyond whatever the FDIC limit is. And so what we say currently is, to the extent that a corporation's investment in a CD is less than fully insured by the FDIC, and we go on to say blah, blah, blah. My suggested language, add a new clause to strengthen the depository risk management to mitigate concentration risk. Okay, so this is, I've got some proposed language here that I'm happy to type in here, but before I type it in here, wanted to get reactions to the concept of adding something here to limit our risk to any one bank. Do we only use one bank as a practical matter?
We use JP Morgan and Chase for banking, and then we use Amalgamated for our investments.
Amalgamated.
For investments, really?
Yeah.
Amalgamated. I
think-
haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I-
Yeah, I remember they had an ATM over here
Yeah.
on Main Street,
I
yeah.
actually use them for my business banking. They were really annoyed me when they closed down. And there's only 2 banks open in the New York City area.
Yeah, they don't have any locations, yeah.
But that means you have to, I don't know for investments, but for wire transfer and stuff, I have to call until I got authorization. Now I can do it by my computer. But their only offices are, one is on 14th Street, and the other is in Co-op City.
So, let me ask this, before we entertain this language on limiting exposure to only one bank, how much of a disruption would it be to our day-to-day operations to have like multiple banks Right now, we only have the two.
Yeah, I think with our operating size or, assets under management, it's about 40 million. I don't think we need more than the two banks that we're currently using.
And you said the first one was JP Morgan Chase, right?
JP Morgan Chase, yeah.
I am less
And
concerned.
JP Morgan Chase, as I said, has partnered up with the Federal Housing Unit of Cincinnati to provide us a line of credit, which serves as a collateral, because the state does provide that for a public entity such as ours,
Mhm.
that would ensure up to whatever our cash plus investment balances are. So in this case, they're insuring up to 30 million. Now, if that goes down, the line of credit will reduce.
So, it may be prudent to get another one in addition to Chase. But I am less concerned hearing that it's Chase, because Chase, if Chase is going out of business, then we have bigger problems in America. So then this is, the whole reason why I wanted to take a look at this paragraph is that so I was at a fintech at the time in 2023 when SVB went down, and every startup in California had their money at SVB, as you guys recall, and they were just, out of luck for that time period.
Wait, that was
Yeah.
Signature
Right.
Bank, yeah?
Yeah, so, and a lot of the deposit flight came to the fintech that I was at, a company called Brex, and then a lot of it went to this other fintech called Mercury, and then the lion's share went to JP Morgan Chase. And we were the only institutions that were able to move fast enough and get like the billions out of there, and everyone else just got screwed. I'm sensitive to this issue, but I think how our current setup gives me some relief that we're at Chase. But it sounds like it might be advantageous to do another institution to, like you said, the FDIC limit is at 30 million?
No, FDIC limit is 250,000.
Oh, 250,000 per account, and
Yes.
we just have the one account?
Yes, and then we have the line of credit.
The line of credit.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we do mitigate risk because, of course, I remember the financial crisis in 2008.
Oh, of course.
And when the bank failed, they used all their clients' money, obviously, to repay. But our accounts at JP Morgan Chase, in totality, we have a few accounts. We don't house more than 4 to 5 million. And then the remaining monies are in T-bills. And we'll draw that down, as required to pay expenses.
I see.
But generally, whatever we earn each month from our ground leases and other revenue streams, that pays for most of our operating expenses.
Okay. Okay, I can move on from this one, if you guys are comfortable with our current situation. But just wanted to put that out there. Okay. I think I had, 5.2, this is talking about standards for qualification of broker-dealers and agents. I wanted to throw something in here about cybersecurity. And just mention that should be, it's probably already a requirement that we're doing.
Yes.
I just want to add it in here as a requirement, that's something that we're considering. So where we say factors to be considered, halfway through the paragraph, we start factors to be considered. I'll just throw like in cybersecurity in there. So let's see.
There's, I can't remember the name of the statute, but banks have to comply with federal and, no, there's no federal, different state cybersecurity requirements. I know there's one in New York, I just don't know the name.
Okay.
I'm suing someone over non-compliance.
But we do have insurance coverage for cybersecurity. And we actually increased, the limits of occurrences.
No, but I'm saying banks are
Yeah.
required to maintain certain cybersecurity for their portals and their capabilities. They have to, they have a higher standard.
For encryption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But I'm sure they're insured too,
Yeah.
so.
So I say, so we say factors to be considered in determining the qualification of such firms.
I said, we don't ever want to have to contact
Yeah.
an insurance company to cover us for.
Oh, yeah. Factors to be considered in determining the qualification of such firms shall include the firm's capitalization, quality, size, reliability, we already have that language, and then I'm adding, and its cybersecurity and operational resilience policies and track record as they relate to the safeguarding of client assets and data. Yeah,
And access.
and access.
Access, data, and access. There could be Trojan horses which, from their site, can affect our site. So, and access. I don't think I was clear, but I actually had a meaning there. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm looking at this.
Okay.
All right, never mind.
So we say,
I'm sitting between you
No, I'm
and there.
looking.
let me maximize that so you can see. Okay, so now we say, and it's the cybersecurity and operational resilience policies and track record as they relate to the safeguarding of client assets, data, and access. And then it goes on to keep the rest of the language as is. All right. Let's see. 5.8. Collateral. Again, cybersecurity is not mentioned in here, so I wanted to add some language regarding, we say currently that collateral shall be maintained in the custody of the corporation or at an approved third-party custodian at all times. And then I wanted to add, and all agreements with that third-party custodian should contain cybersecurity provisions and controls. So I have some proposed language I can put in here. So I'll say, all agreements with third-party custodians must include provisions guaranteeing the implementation of commercially reasonable, there's your term, Mark,
I feel bad, thank you.
cyber security controls and immediate notification of any security incidents impacting the corporation's assets. Thoughts, questions, concerns? Look good? All right. Let's see. 4.1, we already talked about money market funds. That's fine. Right. And yeah, no, we're good. And Article 3, we're already good there. So Yeah, that was all I had for our investment guidelines. Anybody have anything else?
4 policies, one night?
4 policies, one night. Bow, 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 bow.
One stupid question.
Uh-huh.
At the end of Article
Want to
6,
date it?
it says in accordance with Part 201 of Title II, official
You said Article 6, where you at?
CCRR, yeah. That hasn't been updated, has it?
Where you at?
In accordance with Part 2
Oh, at the last
of
page,
Title II,
Oh.
yeah, it's the last paragraph
under 8.
under Article 6.
Okay, I'm with you. Part 201 of Title II of the official compilation of codes.
NYCCRR.
90 days of the blah, 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 blah.
We're still following that practice, where investment audit report has to be filed within 90 days. So we are doing that currently,
Okay.
although I'm not sure if it's still in accordance with Part 201 or
Yeah.
Title II.
Right.
Has that changed?
And I don't know
Yeah.
that the address is accurate or necessary.
Right.
'Cause
Great
I think it's
call
the
out.
Authority Budget Office,
Uh-huh,
not the Coordinator of Public Authority Programs.
yeah.
That's
That
changed.
sounds like a long term, yeah.
Let's see. The coordinator
Yeah.
of
The ABO.
public
Yeah, I think it is.
authority program. Let's see. Coordinator of public authority program.
Yeah, and the Office of the State Controller is not in the Smith Building in Albany.
Oh, I see.
And those are two different.
And so,
Yeah.
Megan, you don't think that the A.E. Smith office building is right?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. If it's going to the
Okay.
State Controller, it's 110 State Street.
Okay, well, let's just put that in.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still 201 of Title II of, it's still valid.
Okay, and then this should say 110
State Street.
State.
Yep.
Everything else still good. Albany, New York,
Yeah, I think-
12236.
I think it's the same zip. They're like down the block from each other.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see, I'm looking at it on the map, okay. All right. Cool. And Mark, you said 201 is still good of Title II?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Let's go to the top of this thing. Is there a date anywhere? No? I don't think there's a date anywhere in this document. That's why I didn't know when it had been updated. I'm guessing it was in the 90s, but I don't know that. So let's just put a date at the top. Yeah. And I'll bracket this.
No, it does have a
It
date,
does.
July 2nd.
I was gonna say that, 1985, yeah.
Well, is that the date, or is that when that event took place? On July 2nd, 1985, REOC adopted guidelines as required by section blah, blah, blah.
Doesn't speak to the.
But is that the date that this was drafted, or are they just telling us that in 85, because that's when, like, REOC was made?
Yeah, and then the next line does say that section 29 requires that the investment guidelines be annually reviewed and approved
Yeah, so we're just gonna put
by the director.
November. We'll put that in brackets.
You're right, the following investment guidelines amended and restate the guidelines previously adopted and are adopting, God damn it. Sorry, but, oh my God. It's like people hate legal
Thank you, everybody. We got through, we have brought 4 documents into the modern era.
Wow.
Wow.
And I'll email these to Lotta and Suzanne.
Great.
And that will conclude our governance committee meeting. I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, so moved,
Second.
seconded. No, any opposition? Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you.
All right. It's
All
good to
right.
see you all.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Yes.